As you guys know very well by now, I love The Florida Project. As a film student, this is a movie that I'm constantly referencing as it incorporates breathtaking filmmaking techniques and tells an extremely powerful and eye-opening story about a young girl and her mother in poverty. Sean Baker and Chris Burgos wrote the screenplay together and actually both produced the film. On top of that, Baker obviously directed but also edited the movie. If you don't know too much about Sean Baker yet, he's the guy who also did Tangerine and Starlet. Tangerine is pretty well known in the indie film community as it was shot entirely on an iPhone utilizing VideoMicro Pro. I've used the app a few times and it's incredible. It basically turns your phone into a professional camera. While the image quality can be distracting for me because I love to look at those gorgeous film and digital shots in movies, I'm sure a lot of people didn't even notice that it was shot on an iPhone. It's one of those movies kind of like American Honey that's hard to watch at times. It's super gritty and leaves you feeling like you saw something that was almost too real. It doesn't even feel like a movie at times, it just feels like life, and that's where The Florida Project comes in. The film is about a young girl named Mooney and her mother Haley who are living at a motel called the Magic Castle in Kissimmee, Florida. They are stuck in poverty and barely scrounge up enough money to survive. The film is told mainly from Mooney's perspective as she navigates childhood in a place where she is subjected to drugs, sex, and violence. I admire Sean Baker so much for telling stories about people who are usually not in the spotlight because of what others tend to think about them. It's important to give everyone a chance to tell their story, and while this is a fictional tale, it's very real at the same time as there are millions of people out there living in similar conditions. The movie was shot on 35mm film as well as an iPhone 6s. Baker really likes to use iPhones to tell stories. It's something that I find interesting as he switched from film to the iPhone towards the end of the movie in order to help change the tone and feel of what is happening in the story. I won't spoil it, but I think it works, and while I am a sucker for film, I admire Baker for choosing something so different and out there and incorporating it into this movie. The cinematography by Alexis Sabe is breathtaking and makes the tough world that Mooney and Haley are living in somewhat beautiful, and that's kind of weird for me to say because they are literally living with almost nothing and are subjected to so many dangers. As the story follows Mooney, we as an audience come to discover and see things the way she would, as she is an innocent child for the most part who is just trying to have fun and play with her friends. She doesn't complain about her situation because she honestly doesn't know any different. It's what she's been exposed to her entire life, and she wouldn't even know what living a luxurious lifestyle would even entail. Another really interesting thing about this film is that the motel the film takes place at is actually a real and functioning motel in Florida. A lot of the people that actually stay at the motel are people who are actually in poverty and are struggling. The motel is very close to Orlando, Florida, which is where all the Disney parks are, and it's such a big shift as the people going to Disney are usually happy families that are trying to provide a lot for their kids as well as give them a fun experience and a chance to just straight up be a kid. While just over in Kissimmee, there are kids with nothing who are struggling and may never even be able to go to one of these Disney parks, even though it's basically right across the street from them. I had the chance to go and walk around the motel a couple years ago when I was in Florida and was kind of in shock because I felt like I was instantly transported into the movie. I made a whole video about that. You can go back and watch it if you would like because it really was an interesting experience. But the fact that the motel is actually a real place, it makes the story so much more authentic and realistic. Bria Vinate, who plays Haley, was actually found randomly by Sean Baker on Instagram. He liked her style and the vibe she gave off and thought that she would be a good fit for the film. She wasn't even an actor when she accepted the role and was given brief acting classes and exercises to help her give the performance that Baker envisioned. It's crazy because you wouldn't really even expect that, being that her performance was so incredible, especially for a first-time actress. I believe that Brooklyn Prince was only 6 years old when she acted in this film, and I would honestly say that she gave the best performance from a child actor that I've ever seen. Her work is incredible, and with the right direction, I believe she'll just keep getting better and better. This film is emotional. It takes the viewer on a journey as Mooney and her friends Jancy and Scooty wreak havoc around town and try to find ways to keep themselves busy. On top of the drugs, sex, and violence they are exposed to, they are also around pedophiles who do not have people always looking out for them. Willem Dafoe's character in the movie is just so likable and great, it's hard not to love him in this movie. While he doesn't have it all together himself, he cares about Mooney and the kids and wants to make sure that they are being properly taken care of. The thing is with this movie, even if you aren't in a situation like this, like I am not, you are still able to connect to the kids and relate to them on a level of how they think about life with such positivity as they're still young and want to have fun and spend time with those they love. I love this movie because it focuses primarily on its characters and tells a story that is really realistic and so important, as most writers and directors tend to stray away from this type of subject material. I've read through the script a few times and it's brilliant. It's helped me with writing my own stories, and it's actually been really inspiring to be able to see where everything came from and how it actually ended up on screen. I am patiently waiting for Sean Baker's next film. It'll definitely be my most anticipated film of whichever year it's coming out. He has an incredible track record so far and is destined for great things. If you haven't seen this film yet, go and watch it. It's in my top 10 films of all time for sure, and I just think it's amazing. And with that being said, I love this film so much and think it's a masterpiece. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.